Hey guys, this is episode 3 of Sound Design Basic, and today we're going to talk about deep bass sound. And it is a little bit more complex. If you haven't already watched my last 2 episodes, go and check them out. There are good things to know. And the goal over here is no matter what kind of synth you use, is actually what we're going to do is how achieve the sound and know the algorithm. All right, so what we're going to come up with is kind of these sounds. This is actually a chord or step or whatever you want to call it. It's a house chord. But what we're going to do is first we're going to create a new sound and then go for the using the same techniques overlay that I've already talked about in the episode first, which is adding the punch. Now for this I'm going to use a sine wave. Now what I'm gonna do is adding a harmony to the sound. Now one thing that I want to talk about the massive and it's pretty cool is this spectrum thing. Alright, spectrum is kind of, let me show you in another thing. I'm not sure if I've already talked about this in my videos or not, but spectrum is kind of removing the harmony from the very beginning of the high frequency through the low frequency. Alright, now this is Avenger, and as you can see, this is the harmony. These harmonies are creating this saw wave. Alright, now if I start the low pass filter over here, you can see the harmony is removing and sound is changing. Alright, now in Avenger, the good thing is you can actually remove them like this to kind of get a different sound. But in Serum, all you can do is just doing the same thing with spectrum intensity over here. Now what I'm gonna do is adding another sound and do the same thing. Alright, adding punch could be cool, but I don't want to use a saw wave. I want to go through a little more bit of complex sound, like the, I don't know, let's just remove the now. As you can hear, I'm kind of low passing the wavetable over here. Now the second thing, now the most important thing is this. Again and again, the low pass stuff. I didn't use the low one. Let's just now. Adding modulation oscillator. I'm not sure how you guys know ring mode and phase and position over here. I'm not sure even how they work. Ring mode is something that you can go and search for it, that how it works, and phase is kind of adding, to me, is kind of adding a square sound through the which oscillator that you choose, and these things are kind of massive stuffs. Alright, instead of this is kind of a different, and if you want to get the same sound, you need to use different algorithms and techniques. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is adding a ring mod and phase stuff through different sound over here to get kind of different sound. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna try it. Right, Now it can be macroed over here to say, hey, a little bit of change of sound would be good. Not really that much, but it will help. And the next thing is let's go through the adding a little bit of another harmony with hi-hat. I guess yes, high metallic sound. It's kind of a hi-hat sound, and it's already sounded. Make it better. Now the next thing that I'm gonna talk about is you can add a harmony again, or we can go further. It's up to you to just fit the amp volume of the oscillator into your sine wave, and it's up to you actually. Now what I'm gonna do is using these filters and distortion to create a kind of different sound and give it more character. Alright, this is pretty basic. It's solid, yeah, alright, but I want to make it more kind of characterize a sound, like this thing over here mixed between the two filters. So what is happening over here is these two oscillators and this noise oscillators go through these filters. Now what I'm choosing over here is saying, hey, I want to go through the mix 1 or I want to go through the mix 2, and this thing over here, like volume, say I want to go through this in like parallel or series. Now I choose series because I want to go the sound first in this filter and then go through this filter. Now if you go through the routing over here in massive, you can see what's happening actually. There's inserts, which are these. There are two inserts that kind of coming up with the distortions. Mostly I use these two sine shaper and parabolic shaper to give more character. And you can say, hey, first I want to the oscillator and sounds go through the insert 1 or insert 2, and then go through the filters and then go through insert 2, or I want to go through filter and insert and then go through this filter and this insert. You can actually guess what happened over here. Now what I'm gonna do is playing around with the synth to see what sound I can achieve with these routines and distortions and filters and the way the input goes through them. Alright, so first thing first, I want to show you a technique. Remove this and go through the one of these removing bands. As you can see, we already removed some of our sound. Alright, but don't worry, because distortions coming in and change the whole thing. Now we go through the second one. After that, this will happen, the same thing that we have already done. Or we can say this, or mostly I use the insert 2 as my hard clipper and put the driver on the 100% and put the drive low as much as possible to see if the sound is not distorted. And then add the master. We can go through the different wavetables. Or we can through these chords wavetables. kind of coming up with different kind of sounds. Now for stereo over the basses, I mostly use dimension expander on the FX2 and put the size on the lowest as possible and put the driver something like that. Now we kind of get a sound, stereo sound, which is not affecting the mid side, and meanwhile it is already sound great. Okay, so what happens over here, we remove some frequency and then distortion comes in again and bring up a little harmonic, and we get some kind of a different character of the sound. Already we can keep the same style, but I prefer to do the distortion and hard clip and now adding envelope to this modulation will give you some kind of interested sounds. Like this. I didn't even think about how can I come up with this kind of scene. Alright, I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed and you get something already. If you like it, my video, please like and subscribe and things like that to don't miss the future episodes of these stuffs. I hope you enjoyed this and I'll catch you very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.